Welcome to episode 4 of Order in Chaos. Today we are talking about emotions. Emotions, and we're tying it back to marketing. Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I think one thing a lot of people ask us about is like what we mentioned about the emotion that you evoke for branding wise. So a lot of people don't understand that it's not the single touch point that evokes a certain emotion. Most of the time, it only gives you that one-off fleeting feeling. But for what you call as branding is when the everything tied together to give you a set of touch points that give you a single emotion. I think that's the core of branding.
The entire goal of branding is that one single emotion. And then we craft everything around that to achieve that emotion. Is that how it works?
Actually, not really. In the past, right, when brand archetypes were more simple, usually it's like you either fit to a single archetype, let's say the jester, or you are the lover. So it was a very silo kind of understanding when it comes to branding and emotions, lah, right? The emotions that you go. But subsequently, I think in today's times, right, I think they have done an analysis. I think I forgot who is one of the big 4, right? PwC or whoever, like it's one of the big 4 firms. They actually did an analysis, and a lot of brands start to, I won't say drift, but start to tap into a different combination of archetypes. Reason being is that as the world is flooded by new incumbent brands, everyone claim to be, say, the chocolate for your lover, for example, right? That's the typical lover brand. So usually it's like sensory chocolate or that kind of thing, right? There is a need to become more than that, right? And also it depends on who are you facing, because more companies are going for different segments of the market. They are not just looking to target bottom of pyramid, for example. So when they are targeting different segments of the market, that's when they need to adopt a different personality, right? I think we spoke about this previously also, that there's always 3 faces to a person, right? The part that you show others, the part that you know yourself, and the part that you show to your friends and family, people that you show, right? So similarly for brands, there is also this differentiation, meaning that the, let's say, the loyal fans, right? Let's say of Lego, right? They know Lego differently from us, from a normal consumer. For us, Lego is just a kid's toy. But for them, right, it's like the the pinnacle of toy engineering, right? Of how the toys can able to, like, just the diameter is just nice so that it fits nicely. So all this, it actually ties in to not just the brand but also your marketing strategy as well. So you see, like when I mentioned about Lego, I talk about the engineering behind, right? So that is product attribute. That is a part of your branding and marketing as well, right? Product attribute is one of them. So I think for in today's age, right, it's not just focusing on a single emotion, but more of a set of emotions that what we always call your brand DNA, right? That makes up who you are, like as a unique set of values or characteristics. Assuming, let's say, if it's like a, like in lottery, right? That's with 4 numbers, there is like how many possible combinations? 4 numbers is what, 10,000?
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 numbers is 10,000, right? So it's only by expanding that numbers to of unique combinations, right, that you can find space that you only belongs to you, right, in this current red ocean, lah. I mean, you just take a look how many companies are there in the world that tries to be, you know, like claims that they are this so and so, right? So actually today, in today's time, let's say even if you are in very simple things, F&B, right? I won't say F&B, the operation is not simple, lah, but in terms of what people, low involvement, right? It's very like, I just think,
Don't need to think much.
yeah. It's not like buying a house, buying a car. I need to go back and discuss with my wife. I need to talk to the tooth fairy, for example, right? So let's say if F&B is a low involvement, right? We also need to establish that even you don't need to compare with regional, like, so this is an advice for F&B operators, right? You shouldn't be looking at like even national level or even regional level. You should just be looking at your vicinity, right? What are the people, let's say people who are selling a similar things or going after the same target audience? I think it's not about selling similar things. I think it's about going the target audience that you're going for. You get where I'm coming from. So let's say if you're going for lunch crowd, right? Like those office people, right? Office workers. Then it doesn't matter what you're selling, but because you must understand that your consumers, I mean your clients, your customers. Let's say you sell chicken rice, right? They are not deciding whether they should be eating your chicken rice or someone else's chicken rice. They are deciding whether they should eat chicken rice or
Something else entirely.
yeah. So I think that's the part that a lot of people are confused about. They try to be the best in their field, but then they fail to understand that it's the client is not just considering them. They are considering what other alternatives. When you are doing the emotions that you want to choose, right? Like or the kind of emotions that you want to evoke, right? Be sure to think of not just your traditional competitors. If you are a automotive brand, don't think of just other automotive companies, but also what other modes of transport is available. Those you should take into account as your competitors as well. Yeah.
So you mentioned about archetypes just now. Is there a relationship between emotions and archetypes?
So every architect actually has like I wouldn't say like a fixed set of values that you need to choose from, but it's actually like a fixed spectrum. You can move from the extreme left of the spectrum all the way to the right, right? But you are still within a same a band. You get what I mean? There's no way that can exceed that band and then still claim to be a certain architect. Like how in human nature, right? We like to compartmentalize, especially for men. I'm not very sure about females, but for males, right? We like to compartmentalize and sort of put a tag, right, on certain things to like for our own heuristic purposes, lah. So
Yeah.
so that we can cut short our thinking, right? So in that sense, for brands, for any types of marketing, right? We have certain tags that we just place on a certain brand that so that we don't have to waste our time thinking about it.
Yeah.
So if you try to come off as like a something that is like you claim to be one thing and you work, I mean if you show a life facing side of your business is something else, that's when there is a dissonance, right? You cannot try and innovate too much in that sense. Like this is my personal take, right? There are some people that might disagree with me. But I think that years and years of research, especially by one of the big firms, lah, right? That there's this one guy that I listened to, right? He was from OUB. Right, he mentions a lot about marketing psychology. Yeah, like years and years of human research and our reptilian trigger, all these things, right? They didn't
Pull it out of anywhere.
yeah, they didn't just like get high and then just thought of it lah. Because very research is actually proven that it's replicable, it's methodological, you know. So I think that's the part where we have to I mean, even for new business owners, right? This is something you need to take into account, right? That you can be different, but you cannot be absolutely out of your industry unless you have a very new way of doing things. So like previously, let's say like I think was it Ford who mentioned that say like if you ask people what they want, they will say they want a faster horse.
Oh,
They
yeah.
wouldn't say they want a car,
Yeah.
right? So unless you are that level of innovation, like your product is so revolutionary, like when the first iPhone first came out without the keypads and everything, right? Unless you are that level, then it's very hard to redefine your category. But in terms of food, I think it's very hard because you cannot create a new food,
Yeah.
right? Like certain industries
there's
a bit hard.
so many flavors that you can play with.
Yeah. So yeah, I think in that sense, right, it's really you either be so out of the norm, right? There's two schools of thought, right? Either you're so out of you're so revolutionary, you're so innovative that you think of a certain what do you call it category of your own, right? Or you stick to what is tried, tested, and proven, right? Yeah, don't reinvent the wheel essentially. Yeah.
So the emotion should it be the first thing that people try to aim for when they are building a brand? Or
I mean, they need to get their product or service right first,
oh,
right? So a lot of people they start off with trying to perfect their product and service offering, right? And what I'm saying is you do not have to make it perfect. You improve because I mean a business, I mean a company is a journey. It's not a race. I mean it's a marathon. It's not a race, right? There will always be new technology, new way of doing things, new best practices, right? That will change. I mean, that you should change along with the times, right? So at least get your core offering right first, meaning that what you stand for. First, you decide what do you offer, what you don't, right? In terms of the tangible sense, right? Then when you go and decide the kind of positioning based on your offerings, it shouldn't be like oh, I just think of something in the air first and then try and sell. I mean, of course, there are people like that, right? There are people like that create something and then the thing doesn't actually exist and then they try and sell it, especially with the recent AI bubble, right? Bubble. This buyers beware kind of thing. A lot of the AI websites, they don't actually sell a product. Like it's not a functioning landing page, it's just a money grab. So as with the recent case, right, there was this AI company that was found out that instead of actual artificial intelligence, it was using like outsourcing to actual people like from India to do the coding or something. Yeah. So that's one thing that we don't want to head towards. So it's a very fine balance, lah. But of course, you always your product or your service offering, it should always be leading compared to your marketing, your the let's say we talk about branding and marketing, right? So yeah, I think in that sense, right, like you should decide on your product first, do your competitor research, know your own price point, and in today's age, like I would feel that most customers are not stupid lah, to put it another way, right? So you can price it at a premium, but you cannot gouge the customer.
They will know that.
They will know, yeah. Or else you're gonna have one-time customers. And if that's what you want, you then you are not building a company. You are being a salesman. There's a very big difference, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
What about our own offerings? What kind of emotions we say that we are going for?
For chaos, it's about doing good work, right? So the kind of emotion that I want to go for is that chaos studios put discretionary effort into our clients' work. Like we don't just do what we are getting paid for, as with a lot of companies like, oh, I'm just paid, let's say 5,000 retainer a month. I just do 5,000 work. No, for us is getting the work done. Whether even if it exceed our hours, even if it's, of course we don't allow scope creep lah, you get what I mean? Like of course if the client is demanding and then the creep, I mean the goalposts keep shifting, right? Then of course that's not a good client to begin with. But for us it's about, we want people to feel that, okay, so they might not be the cheapest. Like chaos is definitely not the cheapest in the market, because that's one thing that we will talk about in subsequent episodes about single service providers versus full service turnkey kind of consultancy, right? So, but then we want clients to feel that I feel safe, that I know that they will do the best work for me. I think that's the part that I want our clients to feel. And this comes from the bottom of my heart, that I would rather get a client, right? And the clients appreciate the work that we've done. The client understands that we are professionals, they leave it up to our expertise to do the best for them, right? Of course, the client has the right to accept the proposal or not, but at least the client is open to actually listening to, I mean, that is receptive, I said, right? Receptive to external opinion rather than just coming in with a fixed um
Idea of how they want things to
yeah,
be
yeah.
done, and then just finding someone to help them execute whatever that they
And also a lot of times this is one thing that if you ever reach like if you ever have experience with agency, a lot of companies, right, they actually find agency not because they need an agency. They find an agency because they want to have someone to blame, right, in the event something doesn't work, especially in marketing. Like so that's the current phase of things. Like I mean, this current mindset.
Meta that we're in.
Yeah, the meta, the current, the meta that we are in, right? Where people are not actually receptive. But the thing is, a lot of people don't understand that you might be good in doing, let's say you come from an engineering background. You might be good in engineering. Let's say you come from financial background. You might be good in managing the company's finances. But that does not mean that you're good in marketing, branding.
Yeah, because it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
It requires different skills.
Like, of course, yes, I agree that you know your company, you know your products the best, right? But leave it to us, right, to show the best of you to the rest of the world. Because that's what we excel at, right? If you know yourself, that doesn't mean anything, lah. Right? I think that's my take on it.
Okay, so to wrap it up, what can business owners, how can they utilize emotion into their marketing and branding efforts?
Okay, so people don't want to just know the angle, right? Because if you just show the product as it is, right, or the service as it is, right, they don't see the thought process, the effort, the what we call blood, sweat, tears that put behind it. Of course, a lot of people will tell me that that doesn't matter to clients. They just want to get the service or the product and then that's it. It's a transactional thing. But that's not true in today's age. If you look at all the successful branding and marketing, right, they always show the behind the scenes process because it adds so much value. If you then if that thinking that okay people don't care, they just come here for a meal or it's a transactional kind of concept, right? Then omakase would have all told already, right? There would be no omakase, right? Why is it a share stable concept? Why is it omakase? So these concepts wouldn't exist. Then you can tell me that okay, so it's only but those are only for rich people. It's for people that have money to spare. Yeah, but it's not about the I'm just here or they could say like I'm just here to get the service offering. Then don't go for an agency. Just hire in-house if you deem that oh I just want to exchange money for service. I'm not here to listen to your opinion, you know. Then yeah, just go for a single service agency and then there are I mean like what single service provider, right? There are such providers out there, but when it's ineffective, again, I implore all business owners to like look into yourself and decide whether it was the agency that did not do well, or was it that you identified the wrong solution to begin with because you were not willing to listen to to consult an expert. It's the same as like you self-representing in law of court with instead of getting a lawyer, right? If you are that good, that mean if you deem yourself that okay, so why should I get a lawyer? Then a lawyer's it's like what starting at 5,000. I can just fight the case myself, or I'm sure that my evidence is sufficient. But then, would you do that? I think that's the question. Would you be, you know?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't, right? So I think it's not just a peace of mind that you trust and have faith that in the expertise of someone that is constantly in touch with the industry. It's not about like having the knowledge already, right? It's not about having the knowledge. It's like will you like it's the same as like compared to someone who only like let's say swim once a week recreationally versus someone who trains every single day. Which one will swim better? Logically speaking, it will be the guy who train every day, lah, right? Yes, I understand that you know how to swim. Similarly, you know how to do marketing. But in an agency's perspective, right, we are doing the training every single day. We are using our mental capacity in that sense, lah, right? In that direction. We are wired for it. So I think that's the part where yeah, I think for business owners, that's one thing for you to take note.
So we've come to the end of episode 4 where we talk about emotions and how they tie back into marketing. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Cheers. See you in the next one.